Good evening. President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's confident there will be successful convictions of those found guilty of COVID-19 related corruption. Corruption allegations implicating government officials and those close to them have been rife amid the coronavirus pandemic. SABC News political reporter Samkele Maseko joins me now. Samkele, thanks for your time this evening. So the president answered a question that you posed about the seemingly fractured relationships within the ANC. Tell me more.
The ANC president is essentially saying that the ANC this past weekend emerged from a very successful and united National Executive Committee meeting of the African National Congress, saying that there's a unity of purpose within the ANC. But one of the strong outcomes of this particular media briefing is that for the first time, this collective of the ANC leadership, since they were elected at the 54th National Conference, addressed a media briefing together as the entire top six, though it was virtually. But it was for the first time that President Cyril Ramaphosa, since his election, actually took the issue of addressing the media head on after the outcomes of the Special National Executive Committee meeting of the African National Congress. What was rather interesting is that the president says that through the ANC NEC statement that there seems to be a well choreographed or choreograted campaign against President Cyril Ramaphosa, and it seemingly looks as if that campaign is to discredit his work in fighting corruption and fighting state capture that is happening in the country. The national chairperson of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe, also goes on to say that the letter of former President Jacob Zuma, the letter by Andile Lungisa and other members of the African National Congress gives credence to this particular campaign that's there to discredit President Cyril Ramaphosa and undermine his leadership.
A large focus of the ANC president's speech was on corruption. What do we know about the outcomes of that latest meeting when it comes to that issue of corruption, especially around COVID-19 and procurement?
We do know that those ANC leaders who've been charged with issues of corruption must step aside with immediate effect. If they refuse, the ANC disciplinary processes then kick in, and they will be instructed by the African National Congress to step aside from their positions, not to resign, to step aside from those particular positions they occupy in leadership positions, whether it be in government and all structures of the African National Congress. This also comes at the backdrop of the political overview that was given by President Cyril Ramaphosa when he opened the meeting on Friday of the NEC, where he instructed that the ANC should implement the resolutions of the 54th National Conference, that all leaders charged with corruption must step aside, and all structures of the African National Congress must refrain from deploying leaders and cadres within the movement that are charged with issues of corruption.
Samkele, what did the ANC say about issues on the rest of our continent, in particular taking a look at Zimbabwe and the insurgency perhaps in Mozambique?
The issue of Zimbabwe was raised within the press briefing. Our own Foreign Affairs editor, Sophie Mukwena, did raise this particular issue. President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that the government special envoy that has been sent to Zimbabwe, led by Cyril Ramaphosa and former National Assembly Speaker Baleka Mbete, is in consultation with the Zimbabwean government, in saying that him as the president has also had an engagement with Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who has requested through the ZANU-PF Politburo that ZANU-PF and the African National Congress do have an engagement together. Now the ANC says they will be sending a delegation led by their own international relations subcommittee, Lindiwe Zulu, who will be engaging with ZANU-PF, and that delegation of the ANC will be scrutinized and will be sent by the Secretary General of the ANC. That would be Esma Khashula. But interestingly, President Cyril Ramaphosa, when the envoy of South Africa went to Zimbabwe, led by Cyril Ramaphosa and Baleka Mbete, they had an issue of not being able to engage with other political formations within that country. Now the president saying that they are hoping to resolve this particular impasse, and that when this particular envoy goes back to Zimbabwe, they must be able to engage with all political formations in Zimbabwe, whether it be MDC Alliance, ZANU-PF and other political formations within that country. We do know that this envoy was scheduled to speak to Nelson Chamisa, MDC Alliance leader, and other political formations within that country when they were last there, but they were unable to, and they were just there at the State House to engage with President Emmerson Mnangagwa.
Samkele Maseko, SABC News political reporter, thanks for your time and that update this evening on The Full View.